Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the podium Clay Filson.
Well, it should become obvious right away that public speaking is not what I do best. But I tell you, this is a great opportunity for us to be here. We're very excited. Personally, I've been working with the Formula BMW program behind the scenes on a technical level since 2005. I've had the opportunity and the pleasure to work directly as a liaison with BMW Motorsports out of Munich. And I tell you, even if you've been in motorsports, as I have for going on 30 years, when you work with people of that caliber and that intensity, it's like starting over again. And though I think while this program appears to be a junior program, it is as advanced as any program out there. And I think he talked about the heritage. This car is fully a BMW product. It's not just a branded product, and I think it's what makes it unique. It was completely designed, conceived through BMW Motorsports, specifically for this program. It's a car that's built with the same technology used in Formula One today, and the car has to pass the exact same safety standards that they use in Formula One and Formula 3. The difference is that obviously it's a spec series where all the drivers who compete in the program utilize the same equipment with limited adjustments, so it doesn't turn into an engineering exercise. The engineering aspect is very critical. It's important that they get it right, but at the same time, that's not what's going to determine hopefully whether they have a successful program or not. It is designed to showcase the driver's abilities. The program is also set up in a much different manner than other programs, where it does provide a bit of a mentoring aspect. There is education, like he mentioned, in vehicle dynamics, in media, in all the other various aspects that they're going to have to understand when they move on. The idea isn't just to make it a nice experience for them, it's to prepare them for truly a potential career in professional motorsports. And there's so much more that happens outside of the track. And we can go into some of those things. I think basically what we're going to do here real quick is I'd like to have a chance to these two fellows to maybe talk to you personally a little bit about their experiences. We're going to do some demonstrations with the car in the lot here. Unfortunately, to really see the potential of it, we would welcome you to come on up to Mid-Ohio, where you can see a car like this really stretch its legs. This is a pretty small pond for a car like this to be in. It has a maximum speed of about 138 to 140 miles an hour. It can do very high G loading, 3 to 5 G loads, in the cornering. So a parking lot is going to be a great way to kind of get a little sample, but we encourage you to come on up to Mid-Ohio, watch what goes on there, because quite honestly, this in many ways is your program. While it's something that we do as a living for BMW, it's really about what your company and BMW is about. And once again, it's been a total honor and a total privilege. But basically, if we can spend a few minutes with these guys, we'll turn the cars loose and hopefully have a good time. I also had the opportunity to participate in Formula BMW as a crew chief and engineer. And in 2004, I did that with Graham Rahal, which was pretty exciting for me, and hopefully it was exciting for him. But I wondered if he might tell us a little bit about how his experience in Formula BMW maybe affected how he went on to obviously have an incredibly successful career. And I can tell you, it's a very humbling experience for someone where I know as a personal friend. I Googled him last night to try to get some of the specifics right, and it was like 1.7 million hits. So that's a bit humbling, but I think I would encourage you guys to look at that, because in his just short of 20 years of age, he has repeatedly been not only successful on the podium, but consistently set records for not only fast times, most laps, most wins in the classes he's competed in, but also usually been the youngest person in almost every series he's competed in to either podium or actually win. So, Graham, if maybe you can share a few moments about your experience in Formula BMW and what you've done since then.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Clay. I think that, as Clay mentioned, he actually grew up with my dad, so I've been around him quite a long time. And obviously in 2004, I'd been in go-karts at the time. I was, I think, 15 years old, and you know, I became a Formula BMW junior driver. And I think that that they pick, what is it, like 5 or 6 drivers to do that every season. And basically, it's like getting a college scholarship. You get $60,000 to go towards a racing career. And for myself in that year, it was all about learning. I mean, as Clay said, I think that that the thing that Formula BMW has that's a huge advantage is that it is a spec series. The engine's the same for everybody. The cars are the same. The tires are the same. I mean, there's really nothing different. So it comes down to the driver. And especially in that season, it was the first year for Formula BMW here. And so it was all about developing the car, which I think, as I kind of went on through my career last year in the Champ Car World Series and this year, well, since the two merged together, now in the IndyCar Series, I think the last 2 years I've found myself once again developing what is a new race car to me. And I think it all comes out of this series. I think that that's what's really critical, because you can't just rely on an engineer. It really does come down to you to make the difference at times. You know, I think that that's been a huge advantage to me. And now as I kind of step up and finally I'm to the top here, but to racing at some of the drivers that I do, I mean, these are guys that I've watched for many years and have kind of admired for a long time. So you have to make sure that your driving talent and your level is comparable to theirs. And I think that you know, it all came right out of this series. I never won a race in Formula BMW, but the next year I went on to Star Mazda, which is kind of like the next stepping stone, and was very successful there. And then Formula Atlantic the year after, and we won 6 of the 12 races. And then Champ Car, we're on the podium quite a bit. So I think kind of like the success just built after Formula BMW. Obviously at a young age, it's pretty tough. And even at that time, I mean, I was racing against people that they called rookies, but these guys were guys that, once again, I had watched for many years, so I knew they were the furthest thing from a rookie at the time. But anyway, I think, you know, as Clay already mentioned, I mean, this series really is something that you guys should come out and watch. It's definitely enjoyable. I mean, there's always a lot of action. You know, I think that there's a lot of young guys out there, so they're really, you know, pushing hard to make a name for themselves and make a career. So it's certainly exciting.
And Graham, I have one question. Thank you. And I can tell you he's incredibly modest. Obviously, in his first IRL outing, he won the race at St. Pete, which had never been done before. It's a remarkable thing, and I wish him well, and obviously the continued success, and I think it gives me a chance to publicly say what a joy it was to work with him. Many people have called me and said, you know, that I was responsible for things, and quite honestly, I can take no credit. This is a kid that when you put in your go-kart, he basically just said, where do I go, and when do I need to come in? And basically, all I'd have to do is fill it up with gas, and he would lap till, you know, the sun went down. But I guess the one question I had, are you more nervous sitting on the grid for something like the Indy 500 or waiting in the wings to walk on the David Letterman show?
It's a good question, actually. I think this year for the Indy 500, I mean, it was my first. It was a tough race for us. We didn't finish, but it was one of those things that I really wasn't all that nervous. I mean, I try to play it as cool and calm as I can at all times. I think that if you do get too nervous, you get worked up, and that's when, you know, bad things tend to happen. I will say that, you know, obviously when I went on the Letterman show, I was pretty nervous, but it was one of those things. I've known Dave since 1992, and he's a partner in my dad's race team, so it wasn't all that bad. I mean, once you get out there, you know, all the people in the stands it's black, so you can't see anybody else. So it's like all you're looking at is Dave and all his makeup. So that was about it.